Hey guys, I'm coming in right now with it's technically my second try at a rim for the March 2016 soap challenge. I made one 2 days ago. I just did olive oil and a little bit of castor oil and no water discount. I also did not use my stick blender when I mixed it together, and I'm not sure if it didn't emulsify properly or what, but I don't know. The whole thing, I'm not pleased with it. The colors are garbage, and it was technically a two-layer rim because I'm going to try to do a watermelon soap, and I did a green layer and then a thin white layer for the rind, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't looking like how I wanted it to look, so I stick blended my batter, and it is a little thicker, but that's okay. It just wasn't looking right, and I'll show you in a second here my other rim. 2 days later, it's not even set up. I mean, it's set up, but it's still just, ugh, I'm not happy with that. I feel like it's going to be 100 years before I'm able to try to get it into the mold. So I did the same thing this time, but with a water discount, because two liquid oils, I feel like I can do a water discount and it'll be fine. And also stick blended it for a minute to emulsify. I'm going to hit it once more with the stick blender just to make sure these colors are emulsified. Before I do that, I'll show you my other one here real quick. See how ugly that is? That's not green. That's not a green striped watermelon rind, so that's why we're trying again here. Real quick, I'm going to blend up my 2 shades of green. Okay, I'm just going to do stripes. I have this in a pan here because in the oven, this pops. So I have it on my heating pad here, so that's how I'm going to gel it on my heating pad. I'm going to insulate it after this. Should be good to go. I'm going to need this entire strip, by the way, to fit in my mold. It's going to go that way. It won't need to be the entire length or the entire width, but the length I will need the entirety of it. Colors look better already. I did last time 2 different kinds of green mica. This time I did one of the same green mica and then green iron oxide is this one I'm holding here, because I know that's going to turn out right. This whole thing, I barely have time to get these done this month, so I'm really hoping that it works out, because I have an even fancier version as long as this recipe works out. The goal is this would be my practice soap, because I think it'd make a really cute soap. Not incredibly original or anything, but the next soap I want to do, that would be the one I think I'm going to enter if it works, because it's much more complicated and I think it might be a winner, so to speak. So we'll see. I will say also, after this challenge, I was on Tatiana's website, her blog, and both ideas that I have, she made a soap like it. She has made a watermelon soap with a rim, and the next one, I'll keep that secret for now, she also had the same thing for the more complicated one I'm trying. So Tatiana, please don't think that I'm copying you. You are amazing at what you do, and you have good ideas, and you came up with them first. So take it as flattery, because I want to do something similar. But I swear I didn't know ahead of time that you had already done stuff like that. Just trying to flatten this out a little. Definitely thicker because I stick blended it, but that's okay. Just want to spread it out. Obviously we need the colors to touch. So if the rim's not complete, then what? I'm going to tap it a few times over here. 1 second. Alright, so there we go. A little more spreading on this side. Colors look good so far. It actually is emulsified 100%. I'm positive of that. The other time, just hand stirring it just didn't look the same, and I was leery of it, and it didn't work out. So I think false trace may have been achieved. Put this this a little closer. Here's this. I didn't show you this before either. I'm doing a big tube. So I think cutting the watermelons down the middle we're going to look really cool. So I'm using this. I'll need the entire width to fill in here, but it only needs to be about 4 inches tall. So we're going to cut through the middle here. If this sets up how I want it to, I'm going to do probably a really super thin layer of white there. I know that's taking an extra step. But yeah, I want it to look like a watermelon. So, alrighty, I'm going to quit talking. I'm going to put a weighted box here. I'm just going to set on top for insulation and also so my tray doesn't pop around, because when it gets hot or it's not being held down properly, it does pop. So, alright, I'll check on this in a little while with the water discount. Hopefully it shouldn't take 2 days to set up. Alright, I'm back. It's been about 3 hours. Had this heating pad on the whole time. I'm honestly not sure if it's gelled or not. It's still hot. It's obviously completely set up. I'm just going to hope that it's flexible, because here I am pouring just a little bit more of the white base for that bit of the rind of my watermelon. I want this to be super, super thin, so I'm not going crazy with it, as you can see. And I'm not going to be using these edges, so I don't care how well they are applied on edges there. I just want to get the center a nice little bit of white soap. The rest I'm going to set aside also. Put some charcoal in it so I can have some black soap to do as the seeds of my watermelon. Granted, if this all works out. I'm just trying to coat my layer right now, and I'm just going to keep it on the heating pad. I feel like the heating pad's definitely not getting as hot as the oven would, so I've been leaving it on, and the green didn't look like it gelled at all, so I honestly don't know what's going to happen. But there's my thin layer of white. I'm going to put my weighted box here to insulate and let it do its thing. Check back with you later. Hey guys, as you can see, here's my strip of hopefully what's going to be my rim. We're pretty flexible, so fingers crossed. Still not positive if we gelled or not, so we shall see. But I cut a strip because I'm going to need the whole length. I know that much, but I'm going to cut 4 inches from the middle. I'm going to see right here if this is going to fit into my container or not, though, if it's going to crack. If it is going to crack, I'm just going to do it in a different style watermelon soap. But okay, I did see people rolled it up around something, which I was not thinking about. I'm going to get my beaker that's sitting here. I'm going to find something to make my little baby happy. Just a second. Okay. Let's give this a shot here. I do feel some anxiety over this. I'm really hoping that it works. I'm going to spin you a little bit closer to me because I can't super reach far. Not comfortably anyhow. Okay. Oops. we got a break between some of my greens. Oh, we got another break. Okay. Do you see how we broke apart where my stripes are different? It does finally look like it gelled though, so there's that. I'm not sure. Not sure about this whole situation. It's definitely different. This is different. This is different, that's for sure. And as you see, as I'm trying to bend, here's the other side. Colors turned out better. See, this looks like a soap that has gelled. It does look more like it has gelled. It doesn't even have to go around as much because of the size of this, but it's also a little bit thicker than I was hoping for in some areas. You can tell the white's very thin, but the green is obviously thick. And as soon as I press it in, yep, it breaks. Okay. And that doesn't look gelled compared to, say, that. That's the same color. Notice the difference? Not gelled. to gelled. Like what's gelling in the middle here is a lot more flexible. So I feel like it's the center that's my problem. Oh. With it being the center though, I want to give a try. This is, I don't know, I feel like I need to give it one quick shot. Measuring thing here, I'm going to give it some cuts. A larger piece made it around here. This is too wide to even fit into my thing, so whoops, and we did get one chunk to break off at the end here. I'm going to go for it. I don't know what else I'm going to do with this. Well, I do know what else I'm going to do with this soap, but I feel like my life is not complete until I try it. I feel like I'm getting a little bit of cracking with this, but it's soft enough where I can smush it back together. So I had to struggle to get it off of the freezer paper, which I'm not used to that. That was definitely something new. It does seem like it gelled more towards the center of the entire thing. And there's more flexibility in the middle. So if I can make up for it around the edges, that's where my colors are different, where it wants to break. I'm going to make it work, damn it. Definitely see some cracking here, yeah? Oh wow, got some overlap too. That's good though. That means I can kind of get in here and eliminate some of the stuff that got cracked. Like right there, okay. Doesn't help that the white is very much softer than the green. There's barely any white though, so I'm not super worrying about it. So getting it to gel is vital. The next one that I'm going to do is going to be in this little guy, so it's not going to need the width of the tray. It's going to be going into my brand new 9-bar mold, slab mold. And that's going in the oven, so that should help as far as guaranteeing that we get gel. This is definitely going to be like a, oh, this barely worked kind of a thing. Because I think most people would not consider this a success right now, but I'm kind of forcing it to stick together here. Because we do have some cracking. This is not perfect. We've also got some of this extra soap. I'm just going to kind of mush up. Stick into the crack here too. Because this was my practice run. But I don't want to waste anything if I don't have to. Basically just pressing, so each and every part of the inside of the rim is pressing up against the inside of the mold. I know Tatiana did a lot of pushing with hers. She wasn't saying anything, so we're kind of like, what was going on? But she's really making sure that it's in there, is round, and as perfectly molded as possible. Here's the inside of mine. This is the joint, which is kind of tricky. Not perfect of a joint. That'll not be where the photography happens, that's for sure. Just kind of squishing it and squishing it. And again, for this recipe, this was olive and castor oil. I did do a water discount because the first one that I tried, well, not only did it false trace, but it was still stinking like wet the next day. 2 days later, I mean. So I don't have time for that. Being all soft oils, I feel like I can afford the water discount. I'm familiar with working with that, so I'm sure Tatiana's probably getting frustrated too, or could be frustrated, because she gives us very strict guidelines. This is what you will do for success. And here's people like me doing the opposite of what she says, or at least something different than what she says. And of course I'm going to run into some roadblocks, but I work with what I've got on hand, obviously, and I think a lot of soap makers may understand that, you know, we want to do something unique. We don't want to take somebody else's recipe necessarily. It just seems better to make something completely our own. So you're so talented, Tatiana. You give us everything we needed to succeed, and here we are doing our own thing. At least me. But I'm gonna consider this a success. It's messy. The double layer of the white certainly added to it. I feel like that's not even fully saponified because my finger is tingling right now. But I'm going to say, for the purpose of me practicing and for the purpose of my watermelon soap, that this is going to be good enough. I really like the colors and the outside look of it. So when Tesla naps later, I'm going to make the center of this, and we'll see how it looks together. All right, guys, see you then. Hey guys, I'm back. It is the evening of the day that I put my rim into my mold here. I tried this afternoon to try to smush some more of the white soap that's still quite soft in at the seam area. I know the green underneath the seam is okay, but I just thought the white should be uniform. Yeah, basically it didn't really work. Kind of goopy in that spot, but the rest of it basically looks okay. I'm trying to get you a good angle. And I'm going to put my watermelon soap inside of here. But some of the extra pieces I have in the bottom of this little rectangle mold here. For the seeds, they're just black strips of soap. I'm going to stick them straight in there so when we cut it, it looks like seeds in there. And then for these little guys, I'm sure there's going to be some leftover soap, just little pieces of that to put in as seeds. Got my soap batter over here. Get this out of the way for a second. It's just been nicely emulsified here. I'm adding some mango butter. Soaping a little hot today because I didn't prep my lye ahead of time. I just had it in the freezer over here cooling down, so I heated up my oils a little bit so it would match. We're around a 120 right now. So we're going to see if I can get these to gel too. Might as well try. I'm just going to insulate though because I'm using a chip can. This is my fragrance too, and my magenta mica. That's just so beautiful. And the fragrance too, there's a lot of different watermelon scents out there. This one is more of a fresh watermelon compared to like that sweet candy watermelon, which I think both would be really popular, but I wanted to try sort of a fresh watermelon scent compared to the candy one that I usually end up with. And so far it smells really good. Alrighty. Need this to be a little bit thicker because obviously I need to hold, these need to be able to be held up straight in the soap. I did a steep water discount too, more than I normally do, because I don't want this to have a lot of shrinkage away from the rim as it's curing. So I did about double the water discount that I normally do. So this should thicken up here. I'm going to stick blend it for a minute. Look at that nice hot pink color we got. Perfect watermelon pink. Love it. All right, but let me blend it up here. Light to medium trace right now, but I want it to be just the tiniest bit thicker. So I'm going to give it a little bit more blending. Okay, I think that's perfect. I don't want to overdo it. Don't want to get a lot of air bubbles in there either, which I'm super guilty of all the time. All right. The smell is really intense. It smells good. I think with all watermelon fragrances, there's going to be that slight element of man-made. Like, it doesn't smell exactly like a freshly picked watermelon, but it's as close as I've ever smelled anything get that was trying to smell like that. Okay, I think that should be okay. Look how cute that looks. I think that should be okay fill-wise, because I want, this is going to take up space too. I cut 8 of these, but I think with the size that I actually have here, that 6 is going to be better. Because I plan on not only cutting these into the bars like that, but probably having them. I'm probably going to get 6 soaps out of this. I was thinking 8, but I think I'm going to make them a little bit wider. Here's my seam. And I'm thinking I might want to cut these through the seam, because I'm not sure the seam's going to look too nice, and I can even shave off, cutting these in half, shave off a bit of the seam if it's really ugly. And this, I don't think I'm going to submit this batch for the challenge, so this is really just to see how the recipe worked out. So far, so good. I am going to try, I have 2 more ideas. I only had 1 more originally, then I thought of one. I want to try Tatiana's vegan recipe with the coconut, shea butter, and then the 15% castor oil. I'm going to do the rest olive oil. I'm going to give that a shot in the slab mold and slice into it instead of this single layer I tried here for this. Give that a shot, and then basically that, and compared to this recipe, I'm going to see what worked the best, and then do the one that I really plan on entering. And who knows, maybe the one that I do for practice turns out even cooler, but I've got fragrances I need to use up. Why not? Ooh, I can definitely tell this soap is getting quite hot, so that's good. I think we're going to get some gel. I keep putting my little seed embeds in there. I'm pretty excited about this. Wasn't sure it was going to work out, but now I'm feeling really happy and hopeful. Okay. There's like slight space on the edges, at least at the top here, and I don't want there to be a space all the way through with this. Pushing it down all the way. Get in there. Watermelon soap. And lucky me, I have this prepped up for my extra. I might even end up with some that don't have any green, and that's okay, because we don't want to waste the soap batter. I've been giving out free samples to everybody who orders off my Etsy page, so all these weird soapy bits are getting used up. Definitely thick. Plopping it in here. Get to see how bright this fragrance turns out, or fragrance, excuse me. This color turns out being gelled too, because this is, I'm pretty darn sure we're going to get a nice gel with these, even though if I just insulate it. We'll see though. I'm not normally one who gels my soap, as you know, if you watch me make soap. Okay, there's a tiny bit left. That's gonna not fit into either of those. Actually, I'm actually thinking about building them up, because these don't make a very big soap. These molds usually only give me like 4 ounces before the cure, so they usually end up being closer to 3.5 by the time they're fully cured. So they're getting seeds on top, they might as well be all mounded up and fluffy looking. I like that better than one little tiny one on the side. Okay. Boom. Just want to go. Trying to get the edges up as much as possible, or it creates a weird overhang. Now, this has nothing to do with the rimmed soap challenge, so feel free to skip ahead to the cutting of this bad boy, my beautiful cylinder, if this is boring you. This is me just using up my scraps. So there we have it, guys, my leftovers, but then more importantly, here's my beauteous rimmed watermelon. My first attempt. We're going to cut it like that and then into half circle bars tomorrow. I'll see you then. Hey guys, we're back. It's around noon 30 the following day after pouring these soaps. Set up beautifully. So excited, can't get over it. And here are the ones that came in my little individual bar molds. So that's what our stripes are going to look like. This is where I had some really tough time with the sticking of my freezer paper. It took a little tiny bit off on this part of the green, but the darker green looks okay. Tiny bit of separation right there too from the white and green. So it'll be really interesting to cut into this guy. But it smells good. I don't think I've ever enjoyed a watermelon fragrance so much. Anyways, I'm going to get into this bad boy. Now, these sort of containers have this seam. If you think of like a can of biscuits, you gotta kind of whack the can of biscuits on something for it to open up right there. I'm actually just gonna, with my little blade, cut into that part and then just start peeling away. I also feel like I need to defend the fact that I actually got duped into buying baby Cheetos, which are what these are. I thought it was going to be some, I didn't really look at the package. Oh, Gerber, it's vegetable. I'm going to get that. And then there's freaking baby Cheetos inside. So please don't judge me. Of course, Tessa loved them, but I already bought them. Of course, I'm going to feed them to her. But I thought this will make a really nice room soap. So anyways, moving on. Just going to cut it in a tiny, tiny little bit here. See how my peeling skills go without even having to use a blade. Nope, not so good. Okay, new plan. I'm gonna grab my pliers. Okay, I got into it with this. Actually, that should be enough to just start peeling it. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oop, we got some crackage. Just gonna smooth that bad boy. There's my seam. Wow, some of it even is sticking to this. I've never had that happen with these tubes before, so I usually don't line them, but soap didn't behave quite like that. Okay, ooh, wowie. There's the bottom. Boom. Interesting how we definitely had some stick here. First, I've made a lot of cylinder soaps recently, not with a rim, but just pouring it in, and that's the first time that's happened. Also, this soap stuck to the freezer paper to begin with, so I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe that's a castor oil thing. We're definitely dealing with some texture. It's not perfectly smooth. I'm kind of just running my finger down here. You get some sweating too down at the bottom towards probably when the soap was being insulated last night. Little kind of a crack, kind of like a bubble even, just smoothing it. There's a big chunk of what got stuck on the container. Mold, whatever you want to call it. Little bits of pink that made it to the other side. I can put that with a vegetable peeler. I think it was Kevin Devine's video when he made rim soap. And that's how he cleaned up the outsides of his where it needed. I thought that was a great idea. Yeah, not a perfect rim happening here at all. But I think once it gets cut into soap, it's going to be still pretty attractive. It's not perfect, but I think it's, you know, it's going to be decent looking soap, I think, overall. I think it's crossed. So let me even see. Does it fit into my thing? Oh, just barely. Okay. Get this set up for you guys. Bring it over here. Whoa. Hello. There we go. I realized today as well that I have not cut a soap for over a month now. The last soaps that I made were even now almost 5 weeks. I'm just not getting them listed on Etsy and stuff. But that was the peeps and the trees. I didn't cut those, so I'm really excited to put into this right now. This is just the end piece, which will make a cool freebie for somebody in the future. It's a big one, so a decent size order. Ooh. Alright, ooh, pretty. A little snag on the way, but check that out. There's the seam, I can tell, of my rim, and it's not it isn't even perfectly flat, but it turned out overall, and I'm thinking about cutting the soaps down the middle. So we have 2 halves, so I'm not positive yet. Okay. I'm going to cut the other end off, and I'm going to measure and try to figure out exactly how big I need to cut these bars. So I'm going to do it into 3 rounds, and then probably cut them in half from there. That's the bottom. It went in, the seeds on the bottom went in a little crooked, so they're going to probably look different in each and every bar. Which isn't exactly a bad thing. Yeah. Pretty. Like, for example, the bottom, that would look better. Cut in half, or even this half would probably look a little better. Okay. Woo, measuring time. About 3.5 inches, so I have to just do a tiny bit over an inch for every one. Did I just break my wire? Yes, I did. Oh no. Mid-cut. Oh, that sucks. I'm just pulling it straight out. Oh, bummer. I got a screw with that here, so I'm actually going to pause this video, fix my wire, barf, and resume from there. Whew, okay, wire replaced. It wasn't even that hard to do. I think I didn't push down straight and it caught my wire, so I'm going down exactly where I did before, and then I'm just going to finish it the rest of the way. Hopefully it's not too screwed up. We'll find out. Oops. And see, there's the line where it got pulled out from earlier. That's okay though. It actually could be way worse. Watermelon. One more and then I'm going to have them. Yeah, seeds aren't perfect all the way down. They definitely didn't get pushed straight down in. That's only my bad, you know. But seeds aren't perfect inside of a real watermelon, so what you gonna do? A little tiny piece of rim came off on this swipe. This cut looks pretty good though. A little bump right there. I love the tiny bit of white that I did. It gave it the aesthetic I was going for, so I'm glad it was all that trouble. It's worth all that trouble. Okay. And then here's this one. Roly-poly watermelons. Now these guys, the diameter on these bad boys, almost 4 inches. It's 3 3/4 inches. So they're bigger soaps. Actually, let me see. Pre-cure, obviously. I'm going to see what these are weighing in at, see if it would benefit them to be cut in half or not, because they're pretty hefty right now. Okay, it says 8.4. So if I cut them in half, they're going to cure to be probably under 4 ounces each, but that's better than a... This is a humongous soap. This will make a nice little kid soap or hand soap. So yeah, I'm going to cut them in half. The seam on this one doesn't even look half bad either, which is pretty awesome. Chin balancing. Gotta have 3 hands sometimes, you know what I mean? Need to make sure it was a clean swipe. Look at those. Oh my goodness. Pretty pumped right now. And then like that side. Boom. They're slightly different on the other sides. Push these over here. I'm gonna leave these the ends in their rounds for photo purposes, like with the wedges, but I think the wedges are looking really cute. Okay. I think I'm going to cut this one different than the way I had intended to because of the way that oops, I always do that. By the way the seeds moved, I think it would look more evenly distributed if I do it like this. And actually, I should be doing it like this. There we go. I don't need my chin for that move. Little watermelon wedges. Their rims, not perfect. I will have to tidy them up and get some photos or post a video, obviously. One more as well. But for first try on this rim job here, it didn't turn out too bad. I was afraid it was going to just be impossible. Now I have my second try in the slab mold to be sliced into. That's in the oven. I turned the oven off. I was actually getting a little bit alien brain on top, just a tiny, tiny bit rippling. I'm going to shave the top off anyways, so not a huge deal. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. That one turned out really nice. And its buddy. Check out the difference between that and that spread out. Oops, mine's like this. Give you guys kind of a shot here of my watermelon soap. Need some good pictures for you right now, but give it a C+. Give it a C+. I hope you guys liked it too. Please give me a thumbs up if you did, and good luck to everybody in the challenge.